Alright, well today is an exciting day. Gonna install my exhaust and hopefully it goes well. Theoretically, everybody says it takes about an hour and a half if you have all the tools and everything's ready to go. So let's get to it. Okay, so getting ready to uninstall the stock OEM muffler and go ahead and replace it with the Mufflex. This is a layout of tools that theoretically I'm going to need, and from doing a little research online what other people have said, most notably this Permatex Ultra Copper high temp silicone. I'll use this for getting a better seal on the flanges and prevent any leaks in the future. Also recommended is an impact wrench. I don't have one personally, but luckily my buddy at work, Joe, good old Marine, Semper Fi, he let me borrow this. Now technically, really I shouldn't use chrome sockets, because if you do a lot of impact, these things are a little bit brittle. However, that's all I got, and these are some pretty good quality ones, so I'll just take it easy and go low on the impact. Obviously some wheel chocks and safety glasses, and over the last couple days I have been spraying the nuts and bolts and the flanges with PB penetrating lubricant here. So alright, let's get to it and see how this goes. Alright, first thing of note is the muffler is over here on the passenger side of the vehicle. Alright, let's crawl up here. Okay, so we've got the hangers. Here is, I've been spraying this area for the last couple of days. The bolt that I got to take off is tucked up under here, so luckily I have a small impact wrench. And then the other two are back over here. Same thing. Got to tuck up back up under here, unbolt, and then there's another one up here. I've been spraying this. So let's go read the instructions. There's not a lot of pictures or anything, but hey, we'll figure it out. Alright, first thing, spray all the rubber hangers, the rear of the muffler, and all the necks and all that fun stuff. Okay, so we got to loosen the 15mm nuts on the tailpipe side of the muffler and remove tailpipes from truck. Okay, so the tailpipes will slide out of the hangers. One thing I'm going to do is, I don't want to scratch up the tips of the tailpipe, so I'm going to wrap those in a cloth. Alright, so I'm going to just wrap these up. Alright, those are taped up, secured, nice and safe, prevent from scratching. Okay, let's loosen up the nuts on the back side of the muffler. Okay, so I've got things loosened. I've got things obviously unbolted on the clamps on the back of the exhaust up there. But we've got to get this tailpipe, we've got to pull it out. So here's the deal. I'm going to pull these rubber hangers here. I'm going to pull them off because I cannot get any leverage to actually pull the exhaust rearward. Alright. So sprayed a little oil on these things. We're just gonna work them off. All right, there goes. Boom. There's that one. All right, so now I see it wiggling up there, and we're just gonna have to be careful and not let it drop. So let's do that. Get all the sharp stuff that'll dent out of the way. Alrighty Okay, it's coming loose. I just want to go slowly so I don't... It's got to go slowly so I don't drop it. All right, out about 3/4 of an inch. Okay, there we go. It's out. So I am going to complete pulling this thing out. Get it out of the way. Rotate it a little bit. And there we go. All right, so this thing is completely covered in oil. I'm going to want to clean that up before I put any of the silicone sealant on it, obviously to get a better bond. All right, cool. That one's out. And as you can see, my rag taped on has prevented my nice shiny tip from getting scratched up. All right, so that's that one. All right, so we're scooting over here. Now we've got to lube up this rubber hanger set. And I am wearing safety glasses because if this stuff gets in your eye, it'll be very unpleasant. All right, here we go. All right, with a little bit of brute force, these things just pry off. Not too bad. All right, this one's loose. This side's being stubborn. There we go. Okay, that one's off. Those are actually pretty easy. That would have been nice to mention in the instructions, I gotta say. Okay, there is one more up here that I gotta remove. All right, get a little bit of the oil up here. All right, glad I waited for the daytime to do this because there's not a lot of light up there. And since I'm wearing the GoPro, I can't wear my headlamp. Oh, that one's easy. Right. Okay, this one is coming up. I'm actually just going to leave the rubber up there. Make my life easy. Okay. All right, so now I'm supporting it from the back here at this bend and right here. This one's going to be trickier because this one is much longer and it's got bends in it as well. So I've just got to be careful. I don't want this thing to come crashing down. Get my foot out in this action too. I could see where a second person would be handy here, but whatever. It's not impossible. All right, check that out. We're out. So at this point, because this one's kind of out of the way, I'm just gonna set it here. I'm just gonna set it there. It's pretty stable right there. All right. So now there's more rubber mounts up here. Before I go too much further, let's see what is next. Okay, so now I'm gonna loosen the 15mm nut on the front of the muffler, and then it says to remove factory muffler. Okay, it says leave the rubber hangers on the truck in place. And then after we get that muffler out, we're going to put the supplied hanger in its place. Okay. Okay, that's not coming off. Time to get the torque bar. All right, so the impact wrench is not doing it, so we're gonna have to try it with this. Now the good thing is, this one's fairly easy to get to. So let's. Okay. Oh, geez. Easy. I suppose in theory, an impact wrench is good. You know, I have a small compressor, so I don't have a whole lot of power backing it up. And that is a pretty small impact wrench. So therefore, and this really wasn't all that tight. So I guess conceivably you could do this with, you know, a decent lever arm if you don't have an impact wrench. But most good mechanics already have all that stuff, and therefore it's going to be easier to use. Alright, this one is coming off just fine. I'm going to finish. Let's see. Alright, here we go. Beautiful. It's coming off by hand. Alright, so that's loose. I'm just going to leave that. So at this point, I've got to come back here and... Okay, there's hangers that are poking into the rubber mounts up here. So I'm going to hit these with some penetrating lube. Ah, crap, it's way over there. Yes, it would be nice to have a lift and all that fancy stuff, but I don't even have ramps. I mean, I'm just using a brick just to get a little bit more room. So, just goes to show you, you can do it with minimal tools. Thing with this lube, man, is it, if you have a right touch, it just a little bit dribbles out, but then it's like, if you just press just a little too hard, it goes flying out, and then you're wearing it. All right. Okay, one thing they don't mention is there is some sort of a wire braid up here that you got to unclip. Okay, so looks like a ground some sort. Okay, but that actually comes off really easy, so you got to pull that off before the muffler's going to come off. Wrap it up and get it out of the way. But I need to remember to put it back on. I'm going to go to remount the new muffler. Alright, let's see what angle will work best getting this thing off. Okay. We're just going to rock it a little bit here, back and forth. Oh, man. Okay, I do see it moving here a little bit, so that's good. However, it's still not coming yet. Man. Alright, where's my pry bar? It's way over here. Oh. There we go. Okay, I just needed a little bit of leverage to get this thing moving. And I have a feeling if I do it in a couple more spots, it'll really start to go. Okay. Okay. Try that for now. Let's see. Are we moving? I don't know. Alright, there we go. Had to put my leg down there to get some extra leverage, yanking this thing off. Okay, so almost out of the one hanger. There we go. Oh, lovely. Some oil just came shooting out, and I just missed having it for breakfast. Alright, I will very carefully put this over here. Okay. Debating whether I'm going to sell this thing or what, or just keep it around in case I want it down the road for some strange reason. Alright, give you a size comparison. Alright, here's the stock muffler. Here is the Magnaflow. Now, the question is, so my thought was, how much of an internal baffling system, and was it a see-through muffler? And it is most certainly not. Obviously, quiet is the game for the stock OEM muffler, whereas when you pick this up and you look through, you can see all the way through. So they're using a different form of noise suppression, obviously built in here, the perforations inside, but it definitely is going to breathe better and obviously be louder. Alright, time to put the supplied hanger in place. Basically, we go in here. Okay, this one's got to be closer to the drive shaft. There's drive shaft, and they mean pushing from the front of the truck back. Okay? So here we go. that's that. And what's interesting is it's not a tight fit, okay? It's sloppy. There's not really a whole lot of actual friction to hold that sucker in like the stock one. So kind of curious how that all works, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and go to the next step. All right, so now we got to slide the muffler in. Recommend using a high temp silicone sealant and place some on the inside of the inlet and outlet. Yeah, okay. So here's the deal. I need to clean this thing from all the oil that I've been spraying on it. So I'm gonna get some acetone, clean the sucker really good. And then I've also got to do the same for the other two tailpipes. That basically means I do need to take that longer tailpipe out because I'm not going to mess with it up in there and get acetone on my face or something. So let's get to it. All right, got some acetone, got a glove on. You don't want to be wearing this stuff on your skin, especially when it's mixed with oil. All right, so we will clean this as best we can. Okay, flip it over to a clean spot so you get the last of the residue off. Doesn't do it any good if you're wiping it with a dirty, oily rag. Okay, so there we go. And you can see there's a little bit more residue and dirt, grime left on there. All right, so I got the longer of the two tailpipes out. Much easier to work on now. It really wasn't that bad pulling it out of there, so no complaints. While I'm at it, clean right inside here, this lip, so we don't have any oil that we missed running into our silicone seal. We do not want any exhaust leaks down the line. We don't want to have to go in and take this thing apart again at some point. Everybody who's told me about doing an exhaust says do it right the first time because you don't want the leaks, and you can get obviously error codes and everything in your CPU management of the vehicle. Okay, so that one's done. So now I've got to crawl under and do the forward tailpipe. Oh, that is not nice to lay down on. All right, so here we go. We're doing the front exhaust pipe here. This one's got tons of goop on it. Looks like I was spraying this one pretty good. Okay, around. Definitely on the inside for this one. Take this cleaner one. Once again, get a little bit of a cleaner rag to get the last of the grime, get the best bond we can of that silicone gasket material. My assumption is that everybody's recommending the copper filled because of the heat transfer nature of copper. Okay, so at this point of the install, there's one thing that was mentioned on several of the forums, a couple of the videos I've watched, and also like Amazon reviews and whatnot, and that is basically this. Okay, you see how this is all using a clamp system, and you've got 1, 2 relief cuts in this particular one. Okay, what several people said is basically they only give you one here, so you don't quite get the even pressure when it comes to clamping. So a lot of people have come in here and dremeled an additional slot. I mean, realistically, as long as you don't make it any deeper than this, you're not at risk of having any leaks or anything. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to see if my Dremel will attack this. It's pretty hard stuff, so we'll give it a try. Here we go. All right, looking pretty good. We do have to go further back. All right, there we go. I'll get my drum sander and go ahead and deburr this part a little bit because I don't want any filings in here. All right, that looks really good. There's a filing in here that I need to get rid of. So luckily, I got this small file, and it looks like I got it. All right, feel the inside, outside. Awesome. I am also going to clean these as well to make sure that we get a good bond. All right, so here we go. We're going to clean the inside of these. Okay, here we go. Here's the Permatex Ultra Copper. Gotta open this up. And as usual, gotta cut this tip off. Okay. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay a nice thin bead of silicone here, and then I'll do the same on the pipe when we get in there, so we get really good coverage. Alright, we're going to do the same here for these. Alright, there we go. Nice beads in there. I'm going to try to be careful and not get this all over the other surfaces. So let's crawl up and we'll do the front exhaust pipe. And here's the thing, you can see the witness mark of where the pipe will come up to rest. So we're going to keep it closer to the edge here. I don't want it on the very edge because I don't want a bead build up and stick out here, but do want it in this area as close to the front as I can. All right, make sure I get plenty of silicone on this. A little bit more on top since I can't really see up there. Alright, so here's the deal. I'm going to wait on putting it around here because I've still got to fish this all the way through, and I don't want sealant just all over the place. So I'm just going to wait a little bit on that. I've still got some time. I've got to get this other muffler in. Now, obviously, before we go and install a muffler, we're going to have to make sure this thing is in place. So let's go ahead and pre-slide this on. Okay, first things first, we've got to get this slid in here. Alright, so here's the deal. That is a little bit awkward to put it in place. So I'm going to do this, then put it in the hangers, and then slide it into the front pipe. Okay, now, while I was doing all that, my front clamp fell off. So, here we go. Let's try it again. Alright, one thing I'm already noticing is it is still a fairly loose fit. So I'm actually going to pop this back a little bit, and I'm going to put quite a bit more silicone on there. Okay, I was kind of guessing on how much I needed. Obviously I need more. Alright, so now with the muffler as far forward and bottomed out as I can get it, I'm just going around and doing one final bead of silicone to make sure it is once and for all sealed. Alright, so after tightening the clamp, it looks like there's plenty of squish out of silicone, okay? That's a very good sign. And I'm just making sure that I've got a complete seal around the edge here. So it looks good. So I'm really glad I went back and added an extra bead. That kind of slowed me down a little bit, but you know, good insurance. I'll see there. Alright, so here we go. We are going to go ahead and put the muffler back exhaust pipe, tailpipe here. I'm going to put this in now, so let's go for it. All right, now, one of the things I'm going to do is pre-mount this rubber hanger here, because there's 2 posts instead of the 1, so it's going to be a lot easier to get 1 post on versus these 2 when I'm trying to do 3 things at once. Okay, and these have a little bit of a these have like a stop so it can't fall off, so you got to get it past those, but it can still slide, so still greased up a little bit, so things will slide around as needed. Okay, so now I've got this here, I need to kind of test fit things and see how they're going to go. Okay, so there we go. Now, as mentioned before, I was kind of waiting to put the silicone on. So I'm going to see if I can just lightly hang this thing in place with the rubber hanger. Okay, so I've got this in here very lightly, and everything is slid back as far as it can go. And that way I'll have plenty of room to put silicone around here. I've still got silicone in here, but I'm going to put a nice fat bead around this thing for the insertion of the tailpipe. All right, here it goes. Okay, so that feels like it's bottomed out there. All right, so now we need to go to the back and make sure that it's aligned where I want it. All right, so just for a rough fit, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna double check on these rubber hangers. All right, and that all looks good. All right, so before we get too far, we're going to put the rubber hanger back in place. Now, and there is also a rubber hanger fairly high up over here. And alright, I'm gonna move around so I can see where this one goes. Alright, so I'm gonna put this in here just ever so slightly. Alright, there we go. So hopefully I'm okay over here. Alright, so the good news is I've got plenty of wiggle room here to do what I need to do. There we go. Alright, nice. Big fat bead on there. I'm starting to learn as I go how much silicone I need. Alright, so this one's going to be a little trickier. It's just so much more to move around, and there's different... So I've got it there. So here's the tricky part. That's resting in there, and that's fine, except there's a rubber mount kind of midway. You've got to get situated as well. Okay. All right, and we're in on that one. Okay, so this one will go forward a little bit more. There's more room to wiggle. This one's got plenty of room to move forward. So we're all looking good. Okay, so this one's just going to take some physical force to get it to wiggle forward. So, okay, basically, we're in. We're in as about as good as it's going to get there. So, at that point, these two, we've got to make sure we're aligning the tailpipe here. Okay. Make sure my rubber hangers are good. Okay, that looks fantastic. This looks good up here. Move this one back just a hair so that the bottom part of this isn't so close to the edge. All right, so that looks good. All right, so we're gonna pull these off and make sure they're aligned well. Yep, they look nice there. And this one looks good too, so just pop it a little bit that way, okay. Dang, that's pretty good. All right, there we go. Let's tidy this up and we're good to go.